All right, welcome back to Base Sunday. Well, she went from a mother of 3 and a grandmother of 3 to a lesbian comic. This after being the self-proclaimed poster girl for the traditional family. So we want to welcome stand-up comic Vickie Shaw. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So this is quite the story that you have going here, because you're from Texas.
Yes.
So how did you know that you wanted to make this big change in your life?
Oh, it was easy. Oh, it was easy. I was a good Southern Baptist stay-at-home mom, 3 kids, PTA, Southern, choir member, Sunday school teacher, Republican Women's Club. And then I thought, why not be a lesbian comedian? And that was so easy. It just was like overnight. I mean,
I would imagine that this has probably been happening, percolating in your mind and your heart for years,
I was gay all my life. I mean, but I just didn't know it, Even in high school, now they have these gay youth groups. And, I'm from Beaumont, Texas. We didn't have gay youth groups.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because I'm actually from the South, so I'm wondering, is it more difficult to come out as a stand-up comedian or to come out as a lesbian in Texas?
Actually, the lesbian was pretty easy. The stand-up, my parents have no sense of humor. I'm adopted. And, when I told my mom I'm doing stand-up comedy, she went, "You're funny?" And I know, she had no idea. But, no, it was weird because it kind of happened at the same time, generally, And I think comedy was actually a catalyst to coming out, because I'd been hiding it and fighting it. But comedy's emotion. Comedy's anger and whatever, and that's the nature.
And it's a deep emotion that you really have, that's what gets you connected with the audience.
Exactly. And then when you have to get in touch with that to do comedy well. And when I started doing that, it was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm a lesbian.
So how old were your kids when you told them that you were going to make this huge transformation in your life?
My children were, my daughter was 7. My sons were 12 and 14 when I came out.
Were they shocked? Did they know?
No. Well, I think when I finally told them, my oldest son actually said, I told him, I said, honey, you need to know what's going on, and I'm a lesbian. He goes, I know.
Well, I think it's kind of a double whammy because, you're not only coming out as a lesbian and changing the whole tenor and fabric of their life, but you're also coming out and changing who you are as a person and becoming a comic, right?
Yes. So it was, now the kids loved the comic part. And all their friends were like, that is the coolest thing we've ever heard. But the lesbian thing, even when they told their friends, eventually, and children have to come out, children of gay parents that come out later, not the ones that have them as babies, but the ones that come out, little gay babies, come out later. There's a coming out for the children, too. They have to... and I told them, I'm not telling your friends, so you tell your friends, and, and they have their process. And so when they finally did come out to their friends, I remember they never had issues with that because their friends were like, but your mom's a comedian. That's cool.
That's awesome.
It was never an issue.
And I love this quote from your website because you say, I know you use your family a lot in your stand-up comedy, and you say Vickie's family is important to her. She includes them in her act because it's cheaper than therapy.
Yes, it is. It is. Oh my gosh. And I don't have to pay. I just go on stage and vent, and tell you, would you believe what happened today?
I know. Well, you know what? Let's take a look at some of your work and see what Vickie Shaw is all about.
I told him, I said, Matt, if someone comes up to you at school and says, your mom gay? Look them square in the face and go, why? Does your mom want to date her? I said, your mom's gay? I said, I said, my mom's gay. I said, so then what did they say? She goes, well, then they said, well, does she, And I looked at her, I couldn't help it. I said, what do you mean, Haley? She goes, oh, Sex. And I just looked at her, I said, Haley, I don't care if your parents are straight or gay. Thinking about your parents having sex is gross.
You don't have to tell me twice. I know that.
Nobody wants to hear that. La, 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 la.
Not at all. Now, tell me, who is Sergeant Patch?
It's my partner of 12 years, police officer. That's People go, why do you call her Sergeant Patches? That's her name. And she is a police officer, 28 years. And we lived in Rockford, Illinois. That's where she was a police officer. And, you know, she told, when we were in love, back 12 years ago, you know, when you're first in love, now you have a partner, a husband, a boyfriend.
Yeah, let me think back.
Yeah. And if that's the thing, was, you know, we're first together and you say stupid stuff that you don't mean, and because you're in love and kind of stupid. And she said, if you'll move here to Rockford, Illinois, and then I'll retire, I'll move with you back home to Houston. And so we did, and I lived there for 12 years, and so it was time to retire, and so we moved back to Houston, and she started whining. I found out she was a whiner, and she goes, I can't believe I live here. It's hot, and it's in Texas. And I said, well, honey, that was our agreement. And honest to God, she goes, I didn't think we'd be together that long. That's just wrong, isn't it?
That is really wrong, man. Love hurts, you know. Vickie, the very funny lady, thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure meeting you.
It was fun.
From Houston, Texas. And if you want to see more of Vickie, you can. She has a stand-up performance tonight at 8 p.m. That's at Club Fox in Redwood City. And if you'd like more information, just log on to VickieShaw.com. We're going to be right back with much more here on Bay Sunday.